Today we are making the TikTok viral baked feta pasta. Now that is a hell of a mouthful, so let me break it down a little. You, like me, may not be a TikToker. I don't even know if they're called TikTokers. They're probably not. That probably just turned me Karen, like,
not TikTok,
so I don't go on TikTok very often because there are a lot of horrible things on there, but I do occasionally go on, and I have also discovered through other media things that go viral on TikTok. And one of them was this pasta recipe, and when I saw it, I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. I want to give that a try. So I did. The whole point is that it's a creamy, lovely pasta sauce that takes almost no hands-on effort, and I thought, well, that's interesting. There's no cream in it. They're using feta, baked feta, as a way, and I suppose you could use brie and all sorts of things if you wanted to, but feta also gives it this lovely, sharp saltiness. To make this creamy, and then the tomatoes melt as well, and that creates this fabulous sauce. But I wanted to lighten it up a little because I'm a woman of a certain age, if you hadn't noticed. And when you get to a certain age, your body, your metabolism isn't quite what it used to be. And so while you know that I love food and I love good food, and I don't diet, just to be clear about that, I do pay attention to how much I'm taking in, because I can't eat the way I used to.
Nothing but oysters and champagne.
Actually, oysters and champagne, calorie-wise, is not such a bad thing. Oysters are great for that. Anyway, I digress. So I wanted to lighten this up a bit, and one of the ways I've done it, sometimes I have this for lunch. I make half of the recipe that's going to be down below, and instead of using pasta, I actually use, and I know you're going to be horrified, I got to say up front, I don't think spaghetti squash substitutes for spaghetti. I don't think zoodles, which are zucchini noodles, they're not bad, but I've discovered toodles, yes, toodles, which are, stop laughing, Rob, turnip noodles. So what you do is you peel a turnip, and if you have a spiralizer, you spiralize that thing, and you get these white spirals of turnip, and ever so lightly warm them in a frying pan with the tiniest little bit of oil, so that you soften them slightly, but you're not trying to make them soggy. And then you toss them with this sauce, and that makes a great lunch that's actually super low calorie and healthy. So, but tonight we're actually making it with pasta because we're having it for dinner. And so let's just get on it, right? So what I've got here is essentially a pint, which is about 250 grams of grape tomatoes. And I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. It really doesn't require much. And then we have a couple of cloves of garlic that have been chopped.
This looks like a hard one.
Pepper. And salt. Now, you can put other ingredients in here that are optional, and I will make a list of those below, ones that I've thought of, and I'm sure you can come up with ones that I haven't even thought of. And we're just going to give that a bit of a mix, and mostly so that the oil coats everything, but also so that the garlic kind of goes to the bottom, because if the garlic is on the top, in my experience, it can burn, right? Because our oven is pretty hot. I guess I should have said the oven is set to 200 Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. And then I'm gonna put a block of feta. The way I've lightened this dish is I'm using less feta and less oil. The original recipe that I saw, and I'm not sure that it's the original actually came from Finland, and there was someone who first posted it. It was a blog, I think, and then someone else, another Finnish person, put it on TikTok, and it went crazy viral. And one of the recipes I looked at had half a cup of olive oil in it. As you can see, I used about a teaspoon. So I'm also using a lot less feta because I discovered it doesn't need this massive block of feta to still produce that creamy yumminess. So we've got a little more salt and pepper on top of the feta, and just a teeny little bit of oil on the feta as well. And I'm gonna pop that in the oven, and it's gonna take approximately 30 minutes. It depends on your oven. I've done this, like I said, when I make it for lunch and it's just for me and I do half the recipe, I do it in the toaster oven. And I found in there, because I'm using a lot less stuff and maybe the toaster oven's hotter, I find in there that it's more like 20 minutes. So start looking at 20. and we'll pop it in and we'll come back and talk. So we're back, and it's been 30 minutes, and I want to show you how lovely this looks. It's very hot. That is the feta with oil and tomatoes, and I'm just going to scoop it into this dish that we actually did warm up, because it helps. Now, I also neglected to say, I think, that when you put this in the oven is when you should start boiling your water. But spaghetti only takes, and we're using spaghetti at this point, or we are today, you can use whatever pasta you want. Spaghetti takes about 10 minutes. So you'll have to figure out, like, if you're looking at that at 20 minutes, like I suggested, that's probably about the time that you would put your pasta in. So I'm just gonna put that in. Yeah, I lost a little bit, that's okay. You can, of course, do this with a colander if you want. I did take a little bit of pasta water out, reserved it because we might need it. It's a good habit to get into when you make a pasta dish, is to scoop out a little bit of the water before you drain the pasta, because it helps you make a sauce.
That's right, because it's got all the starch and some salt in there.
So I'm going to give that a stir. You can see the tomatoes are falling apart, and the feta is creating this creamy
Saucy
sauce.
thing.
I don't think I'm going to need any of the water here.
Oh, maybe a splash.
Maybe. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put in the spinach, because we want it to kind of melt in there. I'm not actually cooking the spinach. And if your stuff isn't hot, then the spinach is not going to do what you want it to do here. All right, I'm just going to put in a little teeny drizzle of that hot pasta water. And at this point, I'm going to change up my instrument. Where did I put it?
What are you looking for?
Oh, I had the pasta scoopy thing.
It's in this one.
That's where it was. Thank you.
That's what I do.
Okay. Oh, I probably could have used a slightly bigger bowl.
Notice you have some other green things here.
I do. So I have some fresh basil there that we're going to top this with. Okay, I'm just getting the spinach down to the bottom so that the heat will melt it. Because you know how spinach melts down to nothingness, right? This is also where you can add extra salt and pepper, and I'm going to add, because we like this sort of thing, some chili flakes. I'm going to put a bit more pepper in there. We have a little bit of escaped feta. And you can see how the tomatoes and the feta have just turned into this lovely rosé sauce.
Nice.
With almost no effort, right? It was 30 minutes in the oven. So this is the sort of thing, so you come home, the first thing you do, you put your pot of water on to boil, you turn your oven on to 200 Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit, let it heat up. Then you put the feta and the tomatoes and stuff together, you pop it in the oven.
Then you drink wine for half an hour.
You talk to your kid about their day or your husband or whatever, and then, 20 minutes in, you check to see how it's going, and you go, okay, I'm good. I'm going to put the noodles in, and bada bing, bada doom, Okay, I'm just going to, the spinach is now wilted, and I'm going to just take some basil here. This is fresh basil. In this case, I'm not sure I would like a dried herb, but maybe in the winter time you could do something. And again, let that kind of melt in just the way the spinach is. Okay, Rob, it's time to eat, because this needs to be eaten now. If you're making this for yourself or you're making it for family, make sure everybody's ready, everything's ready to go, because it's time to eat now. You don't want this to get cold, because this is fabulous. And it was quick, and it was easy, and it's vegetarian. Although, if you want to bulk it up, you can add meat if you want. You can also add, I've added white beans to this. I'll put that down below. See you later.